Dylan White is the indie game developer responsible for Rift Wizard 1 and 2, which are difficult traditional roguelikes with exceptionally deep spell systems that require careful decision-making and planning in order to succeed. In this conversation, we go deep on game design, developing satisfying difficulty curves, and what it takes to make it as an indie game developer.
Well, how are you doing, man?
I'm great. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you. It's funny, I first heard about Rift Wizards because people kept telling me that my game reminded them of Rift Wizard. And I had never heard of it before. And when I went to check it out, I was surprised and pleased to find that we both had the mechanic where you can choose wherever you spawn when a new level's presented. And I thought that was so cool because it wasn't anything that I had planned, but like as I was working on Spellmasons, I realized like that's an exciting tactical decision that I can give the user an opportunity to make.
It's a great like design shortcut too, right? Because like if you don't do that, you have to think about like how do I make the starting location fair? Like I need to like write some code that's gonna like clear out enemies from there. Like what's the minimum distance? Like I actually started without that mechanic, and I was trying to make things work, and I was like, man, it would be so much easier just to like generate completely random levels and then just let them go wherever they want, you know, and then it's their fault, right? Like then if they choose to deploy somewhere and then they die, it's like, well, you didn't have to do that. You know, you could have done something else.
Yeah. And without that, it's so easy to accidentally put the user into a state that they can't win.
Indeed. Yeah. Indeed. Especially when you're doing like really procedurally generated games, you know, which I think your game's quite procedurally.
It is.
I only played it for a little bit, but it seemed the same general idea of like you want to like it's like you're trying to like generate a puzzle, right?
Right.
But it's like it's hard to like write a program that can make a solvable but interesting puzzle.
It really is.
So like if you give like the more I don't know, there's like a sweet spot for how much choice and agency do you want to give the player? Mm-hmm. Like the game that has the most choice and agency, I always think is like the C++ compiler, right? Mm-hmm. Like eventually, if you add every feature to your game, like you just have the C++ compiler, you know, you can do anything, you can do whatever you want. Right. It's like it's not very interesting.
And without constraints, that you can't really guide the user down an interesting experience.
There's just no game without constraints. Like MS Paint is also like a pretty fun, very open-ended thing.
Right.
I had there was one. Do you ever have the program KidPix? Do you remember that thing?
No. Tell me about it.
You know, it's like it's a slightly gamified version of MS Paint. It came out like a long time.
Okay.
I think I had it like 1998, 1999, something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's not a game, but it's not really a very good art program either. Like I wouldn't use it to make art.
Yeah.
But it's very fun. It has like these tools, and they're like paintbrushes that have weird sound effects. It's like a Nickelodeonified MS Paint almost.
Yeah.
So it's like slightly more of a game than MS Paint, but it's like it's not a game. You know, it's not because it doesn't quite have enough constraints to be a game. But yeah, I mean,
it's cool when things like kind of blur that boundary, though.
Yeah. I think Minecraft was a really big one recently that blurred that boundary. Like, Minecraft is barely a game. It's like it just has the absolute minimum amount of stuff to make it a game, right? Especially and like survival mode is a game, and creative mode is basically not a game. Like creative mode, I'd say it's very similar to KidPix. It's just like an art program.
Right.
You can go. It doesn't necessarily make the most beautiful possible JPEG.
Yeah.
But like the process of using it and making something is like pretty fun.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not a game until you turn on the creeper spawn, you know? Like until you have that, it's like it's not quite a game.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I always felt I played Minecraft many years ago, probably a few years into its development, where there wasn't some of the things that it has now.
Same, man. Yeah. Same.
And I always thought that like the creepers and the zombies kind of felt like they didn't belong, and I actually wanted more. Like I really wanted to like find a village and trade, and I kind of know they kind of have that now, but it kind of to what you're saying, it didn't really feel. And I loved it. I played it for hundreds of hours probably. I loved the exploration. I loved the building, but it didn't feel complete. It was like not enough to be an RPG, but it kind of was like hinting at it kind of wanted to be. And I always felt like that was a little bit weird.
It's I feel like once they added the portals to the other dimensions and the bosses, like that was the point where it was kind of like a full playable complete game. Although like one funny thing that Minecraft does is like it has a lot of mechanics that aren't very explored and like aren't very core or fundamental to the
Mm-hmm.
game. Like you can build these massive structures, you know. You have so much freedom in
Yeah.
terms of like what kind of structure you build. But like the game doesn't really interact with your structures that much. I
Right.
mean
Yep.
like monsters will walk along them and creepers are the best part of the game because creepers will blow up your structures and
Yeah.
like mess with the stuff you've made and you like really have to think about like, well, how am I going to like prevent them from getting in here and like what kind of redundancies do I want in whatever thing I'm building.
Yeah.
But a lot of the game is just like it's like the game doesn't care what you're doing, you know. It's like purely for the sake of the player. It's like
Right.
cosmetic in a
Mm-hmm.
way. It's a weird game. Minecraft is a very weird game.
You know, the most fun I ever had with it was when I added constraints. I
Hmm.
used
Hmm.
MC Edit and carved out basically a cube and
Hmm.
kept the world from being infinite. And then my buddy and I
Oh, that's
played on
interesting.
this server with this very limited cube. It was maybe like a square mile or a cubed mile
Right, right.
cubed. And we just filled it up. We filled it up with buildings and little hotels and a hidden underground market. And having that
Hmm.
constraint, the limitation,
Yep.
actually made it way more fun than it being
Oh yeah.
infinite with kind of no guiding principle.
This was a big thing with so like one thing about Rift Wizard is Rift Wizard is hard.
Yeah,
Spell Masons is
I've
kind of hard
noticed.
too. But but it's I really wanted to make it hard kind of for the same reason. Like if you have an RPG where there's like a lot of character customization and it's not hard, then things become kind of cosmetic.
Yeah,
Like Diablo 2 was very I played like thousands of hours of Diablo 2. That was one of
sure.
my favorite games.
Yeah.
And there's so much you can do in Diablo 2. I think there are like 5 classes or 7 classes with the expansion. Each one's got maybe 30 skills, something like that.
Hmm.
But it kind of doesn't matter what you do. Like everything is and this became more and more true as the game was balanced and patched. But like whatever skill you choose to focus on, it kind of doesn't matter. Like
Right.
you just use that skill to like mow down hordes of enemies and you like walk through the world. Like with Rift Wizard, I really wanted to make a game about like what if it mattered? You know, like what
Hmm.
if you could lose the game for like buying the wrong skill?
Uh-huh.
You know, like what would that look like? And like one thing you have to do is you have to make the game like you have to make the game hard. Like I would love to play a version of Minecraft. And there a game came out recently that I've been meaning to try. What's the name? Maybe you can think of it. I want to play a version of Minecraft where it like matters what you build, you know?
Hmm.
Where like you know, you build a fortress and it's like configured a certain way, and it turns out, you know, there's like some inefficiency in that.
Sure.
Or you like try again, you like miss some feature that you had in the previous fortress. I think that would be very interesting.
I feel like Dwarf Fortress probably fulfills that. I know that's not the game that
A
you're
little
thinking
bit.
of, but it's like,
It's
depending on
horribly
what.
exploitable last
Yeah.
time I played. But yeah, it
Yeah.
does do that. It does do that.
Right.
You can it's so easy to you can like you know, you can just lock your fort inside of the mountain.
Oh,
And
really?
not last time I played was 5 years ago, so this very well may have changed. I know they've been very actively developing it for a long
Uh-huh.
time. But you could kind of just have a door to your fort and you just shut the door.
Uh-huh.
And shutting the door would like solve most problems in Dwarf Fortress.
Uh-huh.
And like once I figured that out about the game, that was disappointing. You know, that took a lot of the depth out of the game.
Okay.
Although you can still, of course, your fortress can still be destroyed from within in
Sure.
many ways in Dwarf Fortress.
I had a similar experience with Don't Starve. Are you
Mm.
familiar with Don't Starve?
Hmm.
It's
A
like
little
this.
bit. I didn't play that one for 1,000 hours, but I did. I played it
Sure.
a bit. Yeah.
What I found was the deeper you go down the tech tree, the more dangerous the world becomes. And so I thought, what if I
Mhm.
just tried to survive? Because the objective is to not starve. What if I tried to survive
Right.
without
Right.
going down the tech tree? And so I just spent my time like
Okay.
collecting carrots and berries and not dying, and nothing bad happened. It got really boring, but it's like the game expects you to go down the tech tree and to fight these bigger and badder guys. But if you just eat
Yeah.
berries
Yeah.
and make sure that you're safe at night, nothing bad happens and you can just
Yeah.
survive indefinitely.
Yeah, I don't like it when I find something like that out about a
Yeah.
game. You know, like I was talking about this with my friend the other day, and he was like, "All right, so the first thing I do when I play a new game is I try to determine if I have to respect the game. It's
Mm.
like the first thing I do is
Yeah.
I don't read any text. You know, I just click through everything
Yeah.
and just try to move forward. And in a lot of games, you can just do that, right? And like they won't really punish you for it.
Yeah.
And like my view is that if a game lets me do that, I will lose interest in the game very, very quickly.
Right.
Because it's like, why do I have to engage with any of the mechanics of the game? Like, why do I have to learn anything about the game?
Yeah.
Um, if it's not going to punish me for
Yeah.
anything. And so like difficulty scaling is really hard because like if you're tying difficulty scaling to the tech tree, then it becomes this like then researching techs becomes this very like once the player understands that that's what's going on, it becomes this very weird trade-off where you're like, all right, I want to like I want this tech, but I don't want to research it because I know that if I research this, that'll increment this difficulty variable, and I know that that'll like put me at the next tier of the spawn table,
Yeah.
and then I'll have to deal with things that I can't deal with yet.
Yeah.
And then the game becomes about something very weird, you know? Like the game you want to play in Don't Starve is like you want to play a game where you are very threatened
Yeah.
and you have to like make optimal usage of your resources, the main one being time, I suppose,
Yeah.
to like to prepare for the incoming threats.
Right.
So like once you learn that, you know, like unlocking new stuff is actually what's causing the threat, it's like, I don't know. I feel like ripped off when I discover something like that about a game.
Because there's like a silent agreement then with the player of like, you have to make your own fun. And sometimes that's okay in creative games, but ideally, kind of as you're describing, you want the game to make you die if you're not good enough. So you have to push yourself to survive. And I kind of tend to agree.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think everyone's like that. I think there are people who really love just like very sandboxy games.
Mm-hmm.
Like one game that was very interesting is I don't know if you remember The Sims, like the
oh yeah,
that old Maxis game.
Oh, I
like
love
some
The Sims.
people would play that. Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too, actually. Some people play that as like a creative game, like Minecraft.
Right.
It's very easy to cheat in that game. There's like you like type in
Rosebud.
I forget. Rosebud, is that what it was?
Yeah,
I
that's
can't believe I forgot
the mega money cheat.
Infinite simoleons. I remember the currency of that game. So it's very easy to cheat and just play it as like a sandbox. You can like see what your Sims do. You know, they run around, they do weird things.
Yeah.
And you can also just play it as like an RPG colony simulator game where you're just trying to like grind up the career ladder for your Sim and like buy better items that like fill up your bars faster.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can separate people who play that game like very distinctly into those two camps.
Yeah.
Like you can really separate the players who do one from the players who do the other. And they don't have like a lot of interest. Like there are very few people who want to do both.
Yeah. I was the latter. I bought the best bed to maximize my energy recovery and climbed the career ladder as quickly as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, you're an RPG gamer, you know. Me too. It's yeah.
So I'm curious more about Rift Wizard. So you've got 1 and 2, and 1 came out, 2001, I believe?
No, like 2021.
21, excuse me. That's what I spoke, yeah.
2020, I think it was 2020.
Okay.
It was right as COVID was getting started, I remember.
Sure. So
in early access, and then full launch was later.
What was that like for you? Is this your... I know on Steam you only have the 2. Have you been developing games for a long time? Was this your first like professional
in a way,
game?
Yeah. I had worked in the AAA industry for a while. Like I worked on Guild Wars 2 and I worked on Valorant, and then I was a software developer at like other companies. So I'd done a lot of just coding in general.
Yeah.
And I had like tried to make a game many times, actually. I think this was like the 3rd time that I quit my full-time job and tried to make a game. The first 2 times, you know, it didn't like come together. Like the first time I was very, very young. I think the first time I had I had graduated with a CS degree, and I had done, I don't know, 18 months or something at a non-games company.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, I wrote a lot of code, you know, and you could like walk around, but it wasn't a game.
Yeah.
You know, like my understanding of game design was not very good at that point. I didn't even know what I didn't know, you know. So I figured out a lot of the stuff that I didn't know after I did that.
Yeah.
Then I worked on Guild Wars 2 for a long time. And well, not that long, like 2.5 years, I think. And I learned a lot. I learned quite a bit on Guild Wars 2. Those guys knew what they were doing. There were some great I met like people who had been involved in like all sorts of games. Like there was a guy who had worked on like StarCraft there. There were people who had worked on Diablo. There were all kinds of people at that company.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned so much more about like what a game really was, you know?
Yeah.
Like my first attempt at making a game, it was really like, here's a list of things I like, you know? And now let me try to program all these things I like.
Mm-hmm.
But like there was no logic as to like which thing, why these things should all be in the same game together. And there was also, so there was and that was like problems I had designing the game. I also had problems implementing the game because I was a very inexperienced software engineer at the
Sure.
time. So like I just didn't know, I had like no idea how people were doing certain things. Like having stared at the Guild Wars 2 code base
Mm-hmm.
for many months, like gave me a very good perspective on like what reasonable ways to actually do things would be.
Yeah.
So that helped quite a bit. Then I tried again some years later. The second time was better. The second time was I got farther than the
Uh-huh.
first time. Like the first time, I really had a lot of problems. Even it was a total mess. The second time was like there was like a world map. You would walk around the world map. You would get into combat. You would have your characters. It was like the technical implementation was better. The graphics were better as well. The first time I was using kind of had like 100 by 100 tiles, and I was just using like these assets I'd found online. I had like vague plans to pay some artists to make stuff, but I had like no idea like what the aesthetic theme of the game would be. So it was very MS Painty,
Sure.
you know. It was very like random graphics thrown together.
Yeah.
The second game I was messing around with Oryx sprites. I don't know if you know about the
I'm
Oryx
not
sprites.
familiar
It's like a
now.
very commonly used set of assets. I think you can pay it was like $10 and then you can like use them commercially. And there are commercial games. Once you see the Oryx sprites, it's like the Wilhelm scream in movies.
Yeah.
Like you just see it. You know about the Wilhelm
I
scream?
do.
It's like that
Yeah.
one like ah
Yeah.
yeah yeah. And once you've heard it and been told what it is, you hear it like every time you're watching a movie. You're like I
I
can't
know.
believe they
Yeah, it's
sunk it
like the
into this
movie has a
world. Yeah,
$300 million budget and they use the Wilhelm
that's
script.
right. I mean, it's like an in joke for them. You know,
I'm
it's
sure
like
it is at this point. Yeah.
it really is. It really is. Oryx sprites are almost similar. Like if you see the Oryx sprites, like you'll realize that there are like three games on Steam that you like own or have played that all use those sprites, and like you didn't even realize that they
Really?
all use those same sprites. It's crazy.
Huh.
It's like crazy how ubiquitous those sprites are.
Uh-huh.
So I was using some of those, and it was better. The second attempt was better, but it was my design vision was like so unfocused.
Sure.
It was like it was gonna be an open world game, like kind of like an open world RPG, like almost like Morrowind. You just like walk around and like accumulate stuff.
Sure.
With I guess like Final Fantasy Tactics style combat,
Okay.
which is kind of a bad design in retrospect. That's not a good design for a game because there's always this tension when you're just designing a game of like how does the player win the game?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have like this open world thing and this tactical combat thing, there are many games that do this, and I think they all have the same problem. And the problem is always like you get into a combat and it's like way too easy. It's way too easy because you did all of the right things on the overworld map.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you like went around, you did a bunch of side quests, you got a bunch of stuff, and you're kind of like you're past what the current encounter is at.
Right.
And that's like really hard to solve. One solution is to have some kind of difficulty scaling where like when you go into a dungeon and it's like spawning the creatures, it like looks at how powerful you are. But then that becomes really weird because now like gaining power might be negative for you. So like one game that works like this is Tales of Maj'El 4. It's
Mm.
like an old roguelike. I don't know if you ever played it.
Yeah.
They
I've
have
heard
this
of it.
mechanic where they have exactly this mechanic actually, where when you go into a dungeon, it's an open world game, and when you go into a dungeon, the dungeon level gets set to your level, essentially.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of strategy about what order you do dungeons in. But like, is that really the game you want to play? Is the game you want to play really the one about like optimizing dungeon order? Like you probably wanted to play the game about like deciding like what quests to go on next, deciding which rewards were valuable to
Right.
your the thing that you're trying to do with your characters and your party, and then like you really want like any game with combat, you usually want the combat to be like interesting. You know, you want it to be close. Like you want to be fighting things that are that could beat you if you don't make smart decisions.
Right.
So it's really like if you have a game, it's really hard to make an open world game where you're like accumulating power and the combat is tactical. Like if I was making an open world game now, I would make it like an auto battler where the battles go very, very fast. And if you like totally outclass something, it just like it goes fast.
Sure.
And you like feel good that you outclass that thing. And that's that. Like with that game, I found it was actually quite boring to like get into these combats where you were like way ahead. And it was frustrating if you were way behind. But if you're way ahead, like you're just like waiting to click on your units and move them around, and it was not engaging at all. So that was attempt number 2. Oh, there was cool stuff. There was some very cool stuff in that attempt. Like I was generating a world that kind of worked like Zelda, where like there would be multiple continents, and the way to get from one continent to another might be like unclear. Like there would be like a portal in a dungeon somewhere, and like the game's seeding would like kind of create this plan for how you were able to progress through the world. Which was like a very cool technical thing, but it wasn't like it was not an interesting game, you know, like it was not like engaging and fun to play.
Sure. Yeah, protecting players from min-maxing and ruining the fantasy is a very interesting challenge.
Yeah, like you really want to let them like roam free and just like do whatever the most powerful thing is. Like you really can ruin a game by just like you have this one thing that is always the best thing to do, and then like there's 100 other things that you can do, and they're kind of exciting, but the one thing is obviously better. And it's really bad if the one thing which is better is like hard to differentiate from the other things. Like if the one thing that's better is like something that you can always kind of do, even if you're doing something else at the same time. It's like, why would you ever not do that? That can be very bad. That can be very bad for a game.
Yeah. I feel like some genres are more prone to this issue than others. Like, especially tactical games or like Diablo-style games where there isn't quite as much of a skill check. Because if there's not, like, if you look at a game like Rocket League is 100% skill check. It's whatever you're doing at a given moment, how well you're flying. And then numbers games, like Diablo or like any kind of tactical games, it's like the difficulty changes based on the numbers that you're presented with. And so keeping those numbers in line, just making everybody's numbers go higher together, it's kind of the same experience as killing a rat with a pin as it is killing a dragon with a gigantic sword if all the numbers are relatively the same. And it doesn't necessarily provide a better experience.
WoW. Yeah, and Diablo, I guess, had this problem as well. Like, Act 1, you're killing brown quill rats. Act 5, you find purple ones. And it's like, well, how satisfying is it that you're killing purple quill rats now? You know, like...
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I really, like, with Rift Wizard, I really wanted to do a game where the progression felt real, you know? Like, a game where it felt like you were doing something... Like, you're really doing something different on level 2 than you were doing on level 1.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to make a game where you're just, like, getting... Like, there are games where it's, like, every level you get 5% and the enemies get 5%. And it's, like... I don't know. Like, what's the point? Like, why even have the progression system? Like, why not just make a game like why not just, like, make Mario at that point? You know, where you jump on the enemy and it's always the same Goomba, you know? Like, why have this pretension that like you're getting more powerful if you're not really doing like additional new stuff?
So in Rift Wizard, the power comes from having new choices, is what I noticed. Like new spells.
Generally.
And in Rift Wizard 2, the variations of the spells. Is that how you would say you solved that for that problem?
Yeah, I think roguelikes in general, like one core element of the solution is that you try to make an hour-long game instead of trying to make like a 90-hour game. It's like very hard to make a 90-hour game where every hour you feel like you are gaining something fundamentally new.
Right.
That's really, really hard.
For sure.
And like I thought a lot about, like I played with different game lengths for Rift Wizard. And Rift Wizard 1 and Rift Wizard 2 are different lengths. Rift Wizard 2 is a little bit shorter. I kind of felt like there came a point in Rift Wizard 1 where you were kind of, number one, you were unstoppable. Like you have all this stuff, and sometimes I tried with the enemy designs to make certain enemies good at like really shutting down certain things the player might do.
Yeah.
Like the easiest example is just like some enemies stun you, So like an enemy that can stun you is basically always dangerous, no matter how powerful you are. And especially in Rift Wizard, generally you gain offensive power. You don't really gain much defensive power in Rift Wizard. You gain more defensive power in Rift Wizard 2 than in Rift Wizard 1 because there's like armor and stuff like that. But it's still like by the end of the game, you might be able to take like 5 times as much damage as you were able to take at the beginning, but you can deal like 10,000 times as much damage as you could deal at the beginning, right? So it's like the scaling is very like offensively biased. God, where was I going with that? The progression. Yeah. There is like a little bit of just flat numeric progression in Rift Wizard. Like you can find like Fire Dagger, and it gives your fire spells like +4 damage. But I feel like I kept it to a level where it's still meaningful.
Yeah.
Like you can, like the difference between having the 4 damage and not having the 4 damage is that it's like something dies in 3 hits instead of 4 hits, which is like very, very noticeable.
Right.
Like it's very easy to like layer so many systems into your game, and then you start giving like these very abstract rewards to players, like like plus MMOs are very guilty of this. Like you get +2% critical damage for like the super rare thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, what does that actually change about the gameplay? Like if I'm not looking at the character sheet, I'm not looking at the character panel, what does that actually change? It's like, well, this guy used to take 20 hits to kill. Used to be you'd do your auto attack 20 times and he dies. Now, actually, it still takes 20 because you've just been given this like tiny, tiny incremental thing. But if you like stack it with many other things, now it'll take 19, right? Yeah. And that's like very, I don't know, that's very unsatisfying. I really wanted to make the progression in Rift Wizard like you get something and you notice the difference. And that's very true in the early game. It's hard to keep that going through the late game. So the game kind of like the point at which the game ends is kind of the point where it stops making sense to progress your character. Like with Rift Wizard, like around it varies build by build because the game is not perfectly balanced. Because the things that you get in the game do such wildly different things. You're trying to perfectly balance it. I don't think it just wouldn't be possible.
It's exceptionally difficult.
Yeah. Like you could do it. I mean, you could take like 12 months and like collect data from players and like really try to think about like what is the best. I don't know if it would even make it a better game. Like I think it might make it a worse game, to be honest.
Too much balance does. Like there's the classic example of Helldivers where they basically balanced the fun out of the community's favorite weapons, So you do kind of want it unbalanced. It's a careful act. It's tricky for sure.
And there's like one thing about Rift Wizard is like Rift Wizard is a single player game. Rift Wizard is a game that you buy once. It is not a live service. So like Rift Wizard does not strive to provide an infinite amount of entertainment.
Right.
Like it provides a lot. Hundreds of hours for sure, but it's not infinite. Like it's okay in my mind for a player to finish Rift Wizard.
Yeah.
And like one of the thing, like there's like this fundamental thing that you're doing in Rift Wizard where you're like all the spells appear to be very simple. Like the rules of the game are not complicated. And some are just like by their nature better than others. Like things that give you recurring benefits are often better than things that just give you one benefit. There's like they're kind of these like fundamental mathematical things like increasing the radius of something is really, really good because you're like, to put it in like computer science terms, you're like increasing something where there's it's like a big O of n squared thing. Like if you add 3 to a radius 3 spell, you're like more than doubling the total amount of damage that spell can do, And I think you learn a lot of stuff like this at a very intuitive level when you play Rift Wizard.
Yeah.
And at some point you've explored it, At some point like there's nothing left to see, You've like you have figured out that there's certain mechanics in the game that are kind of like fundamentally bad. Like one mechanic which is like fundamentally bad is dealing a lot of damage but over a long period of time. Like poison has always struggled in Rift Wizard. And that's because like you want to delete monsters, like you want to delete them quickly.
Yeah.
And like in order for poison to be good, like the numbers would have to be insane, you know? Like even if so poison what poison in Rift Wizard does, it just does 1 damage a turn and cannot heal. So like it would almost have to be infinite duration of poison for that to be independently good. And even then it wouldn't be good. Like even then like dealing 1 damage a turn forever would not be good because there's like this urgency to getting rid of monsters that are around you.
What about crowd
and
control? Now, I haven't played long enough
yeah.
to explore everything, but have you thought of that as a
Yeah.
solution?
Yeah. Oh, there is crowd control in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can try to like you can do a build where you're like you could do like petrification aura plus a bunch of poison stuff, and then you could like gradually tick down the stuff around you.
Yeah.
And it is workable and it's fun. Like part of the fun of the game is like finding these things that aren't the best thing
Yeah.
and like making them work, and then like doing a run where you're like, all right, I'm gonna make this work. And in Rift Wizard, you really can like you can say, I'm going to get these 2 spells, and I'm going to use just these 2 spells, and I'm going to figure out how to make that work. And you can, I think that's part of the, like in a way, Rift Wizard is a little bit sandboxy. Like Rift Wizard is not always, like just the base game is, I don't know, it's probably 20 or 30 hours. But then like trying all of these weird spells that many of which seem useless at first glance, but
Yeah.
also like they all kind of have this promise, they all kind of have this like, well, if you could just set up the situation correctly and maybe I can combine it with this, maybe I can combine it with this. I think that is a lot of the fun of Rift Wizard. It's just like trying, and the thing, like because the game is not perfectly balanced, like when you're exploring this stuff, you don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah.
And you don't know, like you have to really think, like, did that run end because I'm not doing this thing correctly? Like, is the thing I'm trying to do hopeless? Or did I just pick the wrong levels? Or like maybe if the order, maybe I could buy slightly different skills. Maybe I could get, maybe if I had different equipment, this would work. I think that's a lot of the fun of the game. And if you balance everything perfectly, then it's like a great example of a perfectly balanced game is Diablo 3. Like in Diablo 3, you can pick whatever skill you want, you can pick whatever rune you want,
Yeah.
and you'll probably complete the game within like 75% as fast as the average build. Like the deviation between the best and the worst,
Yeah.
it's like it's not even 2x, It's like very, very small. And I think that takes a lot of the fun out of it. I think games that they give you these big build systems, but then you can't really like there's no way to break them. It's like, why did you even give this to me?
Right. It's all just
Like
aesthetics at
exploring
that
an
point.
empty field. Yeah.
Well, I love that.
Like Path of Exile is kind of the other end, which is the it's Diablo 3, but nothing's balanced and like crazy stuff can happen.
Which is?
Path of Exile. Have you played that
Oh
one?
yeah.
Yeah. It's unbalanced Diablo 2, essentially, is what Path of Exile is.
Well, it's probably why it's so
there
popular.
there's some balance. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think game popularity is interesting. Like Path of Exile, I'm sure has fewer players than Diablo 4, but like a lot of that is momentum and like brand recognition. Like for Path of Exile to have as many players as it has, I think it's like it's really doing a lot of stuff right. Like they really got a lot of stuff correct for Path of Exile.
I wasn't crazy about Diablo 4. I love the story. I mean, I've been playing Diablo since Diablo 1. And so I'm invested. But as a game, of course, the juice of the game was incredible. The game feels incredible. The design, it all looks amazing. But if you strip all of that away and just look at it as a game, it was kind of unsatisfying. Like once you get mounts, then I'm just kind of like breezing past enemies to get to my quest locations so I can hear what's next in the story. And killing monsters kind of stopped feeling satisfying. And then they give you a million things that you can do. There's all of these different craft masters and the gem person and the enchantress and yada yada, and it's all just changing tiny little percentages of things. And there's all these different resources. There's the gold and the orbs and the et cetera, et cetera. And I kind of feel like it's just designed to take up my time rather than provide a compelling experience.
Well, it doesn't. I think that's a perfect example of a game that doesn't make you respect it. Because I feel like with a lot of, so I haven't actually played 4. I played 3, and I feel like you could ignore so much stuff that like that game. It's like trying to tell you about like this crafting stuff, and you're like, well, why do I care? Like I'll just run through the field and kill the monsters, and like I don't care that there's this like supposedly wonderful equipment over here because I can do the game with really basic equipment, and it's like almost as effective as doing it with the stuff that I would get if I was like hyper min maxing everything.
Right.
I thought
it's a numbers game.
Baldur's Gate 2 did a very good job of like making you want to min max. Baldur's Gate 2 was like it was similar to Diablo in many ways. It's weird to think about Baldur's Gate as like a similar game to Diablo, but it really was similar back then. But you had 6 party members instead of 1, and like the items in that game could really make or break a fight, and the fights were hard.
Yeah.
So you were constantly saving and reloading. Like you would try a fight, you would fail. You'd be like, it didn't work that way. All right, I'll reload. I'll try it a different way. And you have to do it like 4 or 5 times with some of the harder fights in that game.
Yeah.
Like trying different equipment setups, trying different spell setups. Diablo never had that. Like Diablo, I never like faced a boss in Diablo and then said to myself, and then like lost and said like, oh damn, I need to change my approach.
Yeah.
It was always like, okay, I need to grind 10 more levels, or I need to dodge his attacks better.
Yep.
And,
I kind of like Diablo 1 the best, I think, ironically.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of people are coming around to that. I think a lot of people are like, that's gradually dawning on them. They're like, I actually like Diablo 1 the most.
Like another thing that they're missing is there kind of needs to be something at stake. And in the later Diablos, there's nothing at stake.
Yeah.
You can lose and then you just start over.
It's ridiculous. You would like, it's like, you're dead. Click here to revive. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, here we go again.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you don't need to min-max. It's like, well, I could just revive when I die. So why do I? Like, that's the ultimate power. Yeah, right. Diablo 1, you felt a real sense of danger. Like, everywhere you went, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, what's behind that corner.
Yeah. And the atmosphere was incredible. I remember encountering the Butcher for the first time, and it literally fills you with fear as this gigantic monster comes charging out of that door.
He's in this creepy room that doesn't look like anything you've seen before, and he's like super fast too. Yeah, Diablo 1 was like, it was almost like a horror. It was like a horror game.
Right.
It was very different from Diablo. Diablo 2 was like it had a little bit of the horror, but much less. And then Diablo 3, that was a different thing. That was a totally different game.
Completely.
Than Diablo 1, I would say.
Yeah. I feel like roguelikes are somewhat popular because they add something to lose automatically. Like the permadeath is automatically makes something at stake. So even if other game design elements aren't quite as good, you get that for free. Yeah. You get the stakes for free.
Yeah. I think it's like this very good combo where so now there's something to lose. And in order for that to work, like I think roguelikes are all about, it's like, what does the word roguelike mean? I think what the word roguelike means is that a game takes an hour instead of 60 hours. I think that's like the only thing it really means. And like once you decide that the game is not going to take 60 hours, you can have this thing where you lose all the progression.
Yeah.
Like you could play Diablo hardcore mode and you would, like there's certainly something on the line when you play Diablo 2 in hardcore mode or Diablo 3 in hardcore mode. And it feels very, very bad to die.
Yeah.
When you've grinded your character for 30 hours, it feels very, very bad to die. But it's quite excessive, right? It's like way, way, way too much. And it's weird because like when you're designing a game, like imagine designing Diablo 2 or Diablo 3 only for hardcore mode. Like the question is like, how dangerous do you make things? Because keep in mind, if you kill the player, they have to start all the way over from the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Whereas like with the classic roguelite, like NetHack would kill you all the time for basically no reason, right? Like you step on a cockatrice corpse, you die instantly, and you're like, oh, that was very funny. That's very funny that the game killed me for that because I've only been playing for 45 minutes. You know? It was still a little bit frustrating to lose your 45-minute run the first time that you like step on a cockatrice corpse. But like once you decide the game's going to be much shorter, you can make everything can now be dangerous. Like nothing can be dangerous in like I don't play a lot of like long form narrative games anymore because like nothing can be dangerous. Like you can't die. But
Right.
even if you die, like usually you reload with no penalty, and it's very rarely. Like Baldur's Gate 2 really did a very good job of like making these fights like puzzles that you want to try over and over again.
Hmm.
That's quite rare. I think that is a good like maybe you could make a long form game if you focused on it that way. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 and the Divinity series. Uh, People seem to really like those. I understand they do something like this.
Hmm.
But once you make the game short, you can make things that are actually dangerous, and you can start giving the player progress like way faster.
Right.
Like in roguelikes, you can like you can 100x your character in 30 minutes. Like you
Yeah.
can go from killing rats to like killing hordes of dragons like very quickly. And it works and it's sustainable because the game is going to take that away from you 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
You're going to start a new run. Whereas like if you were to give the player that much stuff, but it's like a 60-hour game, like the game, like there's no way to make that work, because you'd be trivializing the game like
Yeah.
so early on that it just wouldn't work. So I think that's what roguelikes in like the modern usage of the term.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what people mean when they say roguelike.
I love that definition. My favorite form of progression is knowledge based rather than numbers based. Like something that's
Mm-hmm.
always available
Yeah,
to the player if only they know. To me, that's far more
absolutely.
interesting than just doubling your damage because you got a better weapon. And
Absolutely.
that can be
And
very hard to pull off, but it's very satisfying.
I feel like meta progression got like very popular at one point, but then I think people are kind of burning out on it now. I think people are saying, you know what, like I don't like it feels a little bit artificial,
Yeah.
and like
I do
games
not
where
like
you're
meta
like,
progression
yeah, a
because
lot of people are really sour about it
it
now.
feels
Yeah.
like, oh, we just made the game impossible, and then when you play
Right.
longer, it becomes
Hmm.
easier until the point where
Hmm.
it's too easy, and then you finally win. And I'm like, well, what's the
Yep.
point of that?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it's like the inevitable result of adding like the only I mean you can do that or you can have meta progression that doesn't really matter, like you're getting 5% extra damage and you're like, all right, the game goes 5% faster now. Like it's
Uh-huh.
very hard to have I don't know. I don't know how to do meta progression in a good way. Did you ever play Mordor? Do you remember the Mordor series? It's like a
Shadow of
very
Mordor, the
old.
one where you can assassinate orcs and stuff.
No. Mordor Depths of Deja Null. It was like an old, like, it was on the AOL demo site back
Okay.
in the
No,
day.
I didn't.
This was a very interesting meta progression game. It was kind of a roguelike, but there was only one dungeon. It was not randomly generated. It was
Okay.
all like handcrafted.
Uh-huh.
And the way the game worked was you would make a character, and the character could join guilds, and you could kind of level up the guilds. In Mordor 2, you could. Like you could like find a tome in the dungeon and like bring it back to the guild, and then
Hmm.
the guild would like learn this new thing, which was cool because the characters there wasn't permadeath, but your characters could get like really messed up. Like when you died, you would like permanently lose stats,
Mm.
and the character might become useless. Like you might have a very like it was very punishing what would happen to your characters.
Sure.
Or you could encounter high level monsters and they would like permanently drain your stats, stuff like that.
Wow.
So your characters were kind of temporary, but so the guilds were always grinding up and you were gradually mapping out this giant dungeon. And like the map was persistent between all of your characters. So like the meta progression was kind of cool in that game because you could get deeper and deeper into the dungeon the more you like started to understand like the layout of the dungeon, and then you would like kind of like get new tools that you could use. That was like a very cool. That was the best I've ever seen meta progression done. But I've never. I think it's very hard. It's like very hard to have satisfying meta
Yeah.
progression.
So what
It's
differentiated
like,
that exactly from
yeah.
like modern day meta progression? Is it because
I
you
mean,
could
it's.
lose characters' actual value, so it kind of balanced it out, maybe?
I think part of it is like the game was hard enough that you needed to meta progress,
Yeah.
and then I mean, it does kind of have the same flaw where like the game's just like I can't do this area because I don't have the meta progression yet.
Yeah.
It kind of got away with it for me just because it was early. Like you can get away with stuff like the games that were out. If you go back and play a 20-year-old game, it usually feels bad
Hmm.
because like people have learned things about game design
Yeah.
and like But the first time you play a game with progression, the first games with progression were like terrible. They were like the original Final Fantasy games, like they're not very good games, you know. Like I have great memories playing them, but like I go back and I look at the design, it's like, all right, I'm choosing which entity to subtract 100 hit points from. Now I could subtract 100 hit points from it, or I could subtract 200. Oh, I better subtract 200 hit points from it. That would be a much better strategy.
Yeah.
And like, oh, do I want to heal my character who's about to die? Yes, I do. Yeah, I would like to. It's like very like the decision making in the combat of those games was like not very interesting. The like the build choices weren't particularly interesting. A lot of those games were kind of fun because you could break them. Like you could find this one thing that like didn't seem like it was going to work really well, but then turned out to be like amazing. Like like Final Fantasy VII had the system where you could like attach materia to each other, and so you could like attach multicast to like Knights of the Round, and then you could get this like ultimate spell that would like one hit anything.
Okay.
And that was really fun in like 2005. You know, that was really fun when the game you played before was like just Mario or Castlevania. Like it was a very new experience. I think this is like a fundamental thing about games is like it's like people talk about like what is a good game, and well, like one thing about a good game is it does something new. Like if you don't do something new, it's like it's maybe not a good game. Like even if you do something like in a way that could be considered perfect, if there's nothing in the game which is new that like players haven't encountered before,
right?
It's like kind of a bad game. So like, I think like I don't know, like if you just gave me Mordor on like a USB drive right now, and you're like, hey, check out this game, I probably wouldn't be very impressed by it, right? Because there's been like so much stuff that's happened since then. But that was like one of the first games I ever played with meta progression. Like we all loved. Do you remember Rogue Legacy? Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Everyone
that was actually the
right?
very first game I ever played with meta progression.
I think for a lot of people it was. It really like distilled it. You know, it really like I don't think there's any game before that like it just had such a like distilled. Distilled is the right word. Like they emphasized it in a way that no game had emphasized it before.
Yeah.
Like you would do the same thing over and over and over again, slowly grinding up.
Yeah.
There were like Flash games that were like that. Like do you remember like Penguin Learn to Fly or like Toss the Turtle? Do you remember those games?
No.
So these were games. Penguin Learn to Fly is a very simple game. You're like a penguin, you're on this ramp, you like jump off the ramp, and you have like a glider, and the goal is to glide as far as possible.
Okay.
And inevitably you like fall into the sea and you die. But you get like money based on how far you went, and then there's meta progression. So you buy like a better glider, you buy like a bigger ramp.
Yeah.
And it's like the stupidest game ever, right? There's like no complexity to it whatsoever. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. But man, it was so engaging when I first played that game. It was one of the first games that really did meta progression. And it wasn't really much of a game. It was just like you do the thing, you are like rewarded a certain amount. You're like, hey, you know, you get 1,000 for that. And then you like click a button and then you're like, oh, now you got 1,200. And you're like, oh man, 1,200. That's a lot, man.
That's improving.
Way more than 1,000. Yeah, I'm improving. I feel rewarded. It was those were cool games because they were they're like in terms of like game design, they're like academically cool because they were like the first time that anyone ever like it was kind of very early on with experimenting with meta progression.
So I feel like games can serve multiple purposes, and it's worth bringing up that a lot of games that I played when I was a kid that we would say are objectively bad games now, I loved, and I think it's because I was in it for the fantasy. I remember seeing this image. Somebody was talking about one of the old Mario games and about how there was this room with literally nothing in it that you could do. There was like a bed and a lamp and a picture or something. And somebody was like, I spent so much time in this room, I used to pretend that I lived here. And that's kind of the experience of playing a game when you're a kid. You have all this imagination and you're exploring a world. And then as I've become an adult, I found more of the experiences I'm going towards are maybe kind of ego driven, like I'm improving. It's like the fantasy of empowerment rather than like the fantasy of narrative and exploration.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's a childlike thing where you kind of need your childlike wonder to engage in a strictly fantasy sense, because it feels a little emptier to be playing a game just to have the fantasy of being better than you were. To me, that feels a little bit empty. And of course, it's satisfying.
Yeah.
But I don't really, in my own mind, I don't really rate games that do that as highly as games that provide me with an unforgettable experience. Like for me now, one of my favorite games is PUBG. And the reason why is not because I can go and gun down a bunch of enemies and feel like I'm the biggest, baddest guy, but because of the crazy experiences I have of like driving and encountering somebody and they surprised me and we made it away barely. So that's almost like in the middle ground. As an adult now, it's like you do get some of that power fantasy, but there's also the implicit narrative of like there's a story overlaying on that experience. And for me, that's the holy grail of games.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think I would much rather play a game where like the story is the thing that happened. You know, the story is like the thing that happened when I played that game that time. So PUBG has that. Like Dota and League, they very much have that. Rift Wizard has roguelikes in general. A lot of the time will have that because every run feels different. You're like doing something which is different from last time.
Yeah.
I think like in a way the holy grail of gaming for me lately is just this. It's like a game where every time you play it, you feel like something interesting and meaningful is happening.
Yeah.
Like one thing you can do in roguelikes is like you can have a run and like you realize at some point that like you will never have another run like this, you know? Like you will never get these two rare items in the same run again.
Yeah.
And that gives like such a weight to everything that's happening. Like it makes you care so much about whether you live or die that it makes the player really like engage with the systems in the game. Like people will, like in Rift Wizard, people will stare at one turn for like 5 or 10 minutes and think about like all the different things. And that was very much intentional. That's something I took from so done with a lot of old school traditional roguelikes. There would be you could play them online sometimes and like people would spectate and you might get into a very, very bad situation.
Yeah.
And you'd spend a lot of time talking with people about like, how do I extract myself from this situation? And it could be very interesting because the situations could be very unique.
Right.
You could have a very unique set of tools, you know, versus any other time that you had encountered a similar situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's something very real about it when it's like a story that's happening to you, especially in multiplayer games, especially games you're playing like with your friends on Discord or whatever.
Yeah.
It really like I don't know, it really gives texture to the experience to be having the thing that's happening be something that's happening to you that you're participating in rather than something that that the designer has like set up for you.
Right. So what are the games that you're playing now that kind of fulfill that for you?
Oh, I've been playing a lot of teamfight tactics right now, and I've been playing a lot of Blood in the Clock Tower. So Blood in the Clock Tower, it's not a video game. We'll start with Teamfight Tactics. Teamfight Tactics. Do you know Teamfight Tactics?
I don't actually.
It's do you know Dota Auto Chess? Do you remember that? It was
real
yes.
Big, like, yeah, I love Auto Chess. Yeah.
It's the same as Auto Chess. It's better. It's actually better in many ways.
Really?
They made so Teamfight Tactics is the League of Legends answer to Dota Auto Chess.
Okay.
And what they did, they're like basically two things they did that make it a way better game than Auto Chess in my mind. One is the item system is better. The item system is every unit can have up to 3 items, and you don't get that many items. You get item components, and every component is half of an item. And every unique combination of 2 components is a different item. So like you get like a purple rod, and then you're thinking about the things that you could do with that purple rod.
Yeah.
And you get like a bow, and you're thinking about like, how could I combine these and what sets of units are like most advantageous for the situation that I'm in right now. And then the other system they added was you get what's called augments, where 3 times per game you get to pick one really, really useful permanent buff. And you get different. I think every time it's like 3 times per game you get to choose one of 3. So like every game there's a different set of 3 offered, and like you can never quite solve the game because it's always a slightly different situation. And sometimes you're playing and you're in a very weird situation. Like sometimes you get something very, very good and you're trying to think about how can I get first place. Sometimes you really get screwed over and you're trying to think, well, could I at least go 6th instead of 7th? And there's like there's like this elo system where you're kind of gambling every time you play. You're putting your fake internet points on the line. You're putting your ego on the line, essentially.
Because you gain or lose rep based on your place.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like if you're first place, you get like you essentially get we'll say you get like, was it 50? I don't know. It's like 50 for first. I think it doubles every time. So it's like first is twice as good as second.
Yeah.
And like 8th is twice as bad as 7th, which is twice as bad as 6th. So
that's really interesting because then it makes it compelling even if you know you're not going to win because you're still trying to avoid losing reputation.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And it's kind of like poker where it's like you can't win every poker hand.
Yeah.
But like if you're a good poker player, then you'll have good like you'll trend upwards.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to know if you're a good poker player because it takes many, many games to really draw any inference in how good you are. And it's like very hard to look back at every game and say like, did I do perfectly in that game? Like you always feel it's a very interesting blend of like always feeling like you could have done something differently versus always being able to blame luck for your failures. It's like I've really been enjoying that one.
And then Blood on the Clock Tower?
I've been playing a lot of Blood on the Clock Tower recently, which is not a video game. Although, I mean, you can play it online. It's kind of a video game if you're playing it online. So Blood on the Clock Tower is, do you remember Werewolf? You know that game?
Yes. The social deduction game?
Yeah. Blood on the Clock Tower, it's Werewolf meets Magic the Gathering, essentially. It's Werewolf, but everyone has a role, and everyone's role is like kind of complicated. The way it works is you play it with you have to have like a DM, like a dungeon master, essentially.
Okay.
Who like you tell everyone to close their eyes. The DM goes around and like one character, they learn the number of players next to them who are evil. One character, like during the day, you can like go up to the DM and the DM tells you one statement which is true and one statement which is false, but you don't know which one is which, and you have to like line that up with other people's information. But then also, all of the evil players are lying to you, of course.
Yeah.
And they're even like, there are roles with weird incentives and scenarios where like there's a character who can swap between being good and being evil. Ooh. And you're like never sure, you're like, that guy might be good, but lying to me. So it's like Werewolf meets Sudoku almost. Right. I've been playing that one quite a lot. That one, no 2 games feel, I mean, with every game, they're like, it's not true. It's not true that no 2 games feel like, because there are patterns, there are things where it's like, yes, I have seen this before.
Yeah.
But it is so frequent that there's a crazy game that you've never seen before. And that's, I don't know, for me, those are that's the type of games that I'm really interested in now. I don't care very much about narrative games anymore. Yeah. I really I loved narrative games when I was young.
Yeah.
Like, I cried when Ares died, for sure. I really liked God of War. Oh, Final Fantasy VII, man.
I was too young for that. I think I missed that.
Yeah, it's not a game that like I would necessarily like recommend to people to say like, hey, you got to go back and play it. Like, that game, you kind of had to be there. Like you had to be just coming off of like sprite graphics and like Sega and Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And this is like the first big like 3D RPG that you're playing, and it's like so impressive that people have actually done this. Now I go back and I think, man, this game really wastes my time. Like this game is so slow. Like, oh my God, the dialogue is slow, the cutscenes are slow,
Yeah.
like the combat is very shallow. It's not very interesting. But yeah, at the time, man, at the time
Yeah.
it was mind blowing. Um,
I remember being
and
a
just like the world building was cool too.
I remember being a kid playing Halo 1 for the first time and being
Yeah.
terrified.
Hmm.
Like it's not a
Hmm.
horror game, but when they put you
Yeah.
in the ship with no weapon and the doors
Hmm.
open and there's an
Hmm.
elite right there, I was legitimately terrified when I was a kid. So that was I think I was just a few years I missed Final Fantasy by just a few years. I think I even had classmates who had played it. So I was like right there, but yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people got that experience from Halo as
Yeah.
well. I think Halo was that for a lot of people. I was like I was like a little too old. Like once Halo came out, I had classmates who were really into Halo. I played it and I was like, I don't know, like I've it's just Doom, you know? It's just
Yeah.
like trying to demonstrate before. I don't know. Oh man.
So
What
I
was like what were like the big games for you when you were young?
I was definitely a Blizzard player. I
Okay.
loved
Yeah, yeah.
StarCraft 1, Warcraft 2. Those were huge.
Mm-hmm.
Warcraft 3 was mind-blowing when I first played it. Um,
Yeah.
I played a little bit of I played Lineage. Did you ever hear of Lineage?
Oh yeah, I remember Lineage. I
Yeah.
remember the
Uh,
NC Soft game, right?
yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I never really got I might have played it for like 10 minutes or something. It was very popular in
yeah.
Korea, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really too young to know what I was doing. But I
I
enjoyed
played a
it.
lot of MMOs like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
where it's like I played WoW probably like 50 hours. People think WoW's about raiding. I never raided. You
Hmm.
know, like I never did any of the things that people think World of Warcraft is about.
Yeah.
I just like ran around the world and like sometimes I would find a quest, you know?
I got up to level
Yeah.
32 and never played again. So very similar to your experience with World of Warcraft.
In WoW or Lineage, you're
In
saying?
WoW.
In WoW, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2
oh yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
probably my
That's a
all-time
fun
favorite
game.
game if I had to name an
A lot of people
all-time.
say that about Tony Hawk Pro Skater
The
2
skill
specifically.
ceiling was really incredible. The multiplayer was ridiculously fun. Like couch co-op was such an
Hmm.
incredible era when you'd have your friends over and play Xbox or PlayStation or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Super Smash Bros, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I still do that. I still do.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
My
a mistake
favorite right
not
now
to do
is
that.
Bopple Battle. Have you heard of that?
No, I have not played Bobble Battle.
So
What is Bobble Battle?
it's an incredible couch co-op game that you can play online. You're
Okay.
essentially these little squishy guys, and you have three abilities that you can play at any
Hmm.
time. And there's like two
Okay.
dozen abilities or something like that, and everything
Right on.
synergizes ridiculously well. There's an arena just like Super Smash Bros. Um,
Hmm.
but you can like create a missile that you guide around, and everything has really solid
Right.
pros and cons. Like you're guiding this
Yeah.
missile, but you're immobile while you're guiding it. Or you can turn yourself
Right.
into a boulder and crush people, or you can
Hmm.
use a growth rate to expand the size of platforms and crush people between the platforms. Really,
Sure,
really
sure.
incredible game. Yeah,
Oh man, I gotta try it. It sounds like something me and my friends would really enjoy.
I highly recommend it.
It
It's
sounds so
hilarious.
cool.
Same thing that we've been talking about with like no experience is the
Yeah.
same because you always get
Hmm.
different combinations. If you're playing on, I like to do all random. So every round I get three different
Sure.
weapons.
Yep.
Some people that
Hmm.
play will like find one OP combination and then just try to kill you with that over and over and over again.
I
Which
would imagine.
I
I
actually
would
like
imagine.
playing
Yeah.
against those guys because I'm like, if I can beat you with all random,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially round for round, and you're just trying the most OP strategy you've got, that's really satisfying.
It's very
Yeah.
satisfying. Yes, indeed.
So,
Yes, indeed.
but I wanted to ask you. So, are you a full time indie developer? Is that how you categorize yourself?
Yeah, yeah. I would categorize myself that way
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
For sure.
I am as well, and it's a little bit new for me. I've been working on a Spell Masons for 5 years now, and only recently
Oh, wow.
do I feel like I finally crossed the threshold of being confident as full time.
Yeah.
What was the
Hmm.
business end of it like for you? I mean, did you have trouble marketing Rift Wizard because it's not as flashy, or
Oh yeah, for
is the
sure.
subculture of like those kind of roguelikes so deep that you were able to like? Can you tell me a little bit about the
Yeah.
business end of it?
It's yeah, it's funny. You know, I would have done it even if I didn't make any money from it. Like
Yeah.
I would have still done it because I wanted to do it forever, like
For
for my
sure.
whole life. I had like wanted to make a game, and I felt like there had always been something distracting me. There had always been something that I had to do instead
Yeah,
of make a game. So I just like had to, like spiritually, I just like had to do it.
for sure.
Um, the business was it looked like pretty much a failure for the first year.
Hmm.
It did help. It definitely helped that like I was making a game in a space that had a very enthusiastic following.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of people that just love roguelikes,
Hmm.
and like there are people who will play every roguelike that comes out. And I think Rift Wizard was a good game. Like I think it really mattered that Rift Wizard offered something new. Like
Yes.
Rift Wizard, I was focusing on something that was in the roguelike genre, but was not necessarily the number one focus of any game that had come out in the roguelike genre up
Hmm.
until that point. So I think it really like it really scratched an itch. And like it was a game, like I made a game that I really wanted to play. Like I think that's the most important thing you could do. Like people who are making a game for someone other than themselves, like man, that's dangerous. That is
Yeah.
so dangerous because you don't know if anyone will like it. Like
Yeah.
if you don't like your own game, like it's like you're like off the trail, Like if you're making a game which is fun to you and every day you're making it more fun to you,
Hmm.
then like you're kind of like guaranteed like you're probably not so weird that you're going to make a game that no one else likes, you
Right.
know? Um, Probably. Who knows? You could be, you could be. That's a risk you take when you make any kind of art.
I don't know, like
Um,
if it's good enough for you to love it, I think that there's always going to be some amount of people, even if it's super niche, that will also
yeah.
identify with the same thread inside of you that's excited about that thing. I mean,
Mhm.
reaching them might be a lot harder,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think we've seen enough very weird games succeed for that exact
Oh yeah.
reason. That as long as it's legitimate, like some people have kind of a distorted view. I feel like you see this a
Mhm.
lot. A good example is like people who used to audition on American Idol. I remember this from like 15
Okay.
years ago. They'd come on stage and
Yep,
they'd
yep.
think that they could sing and they couldn't sing. I don't know if
Indeed.
that exists
Indeed.
in the game dev world. I guess that's a
Oh, for
possibility.
sure. For sure it does. Yeah.
Okay,
I've definitely seen that.
but if
I've
you're in
definitely seen
touch,
that.
if you're like actually in touch with how good it is, like you
Yeah.
you have a taste, and then you're being
Which
real
is
with yourself.
quite difficult, I would say. This is like one of the hardest things in the world
You
is to
think so?
like
Being real with yourself or having good taste?
being real with yourself. Well, they're almost the same thing. Like to be able to like see yourself and your mind like from the outside is
Mm,
so difficult. Like I don't think I could do that before I was like in my 30s basically. Like that's so hard. It's so hard to like and like to understand why you feel the way that you feel in a certain situation.
yeah.
This is like one of the most important skills for a it's this really funny thing being a game designer. Like in a way, like I was a very introverted person for a very long time.
Hmm.
And a lot of the fantasy of making a game is like, well, I just want to go in a room by myself and write code,
Uh huh.
you know? I just want to like do math all day and I
Yeah.
don't want to deal with other people. But at the same time, like making a game, like game design is it's like entirely about understanding other people, It's entirely about understanding
And
like
yourself.
well, because you're a person,
Like yeah,
basically.
like on a meta level, it's like yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like why did I enjoy Mario? Like why did I enjoy Final Fantasy VII? I
Hmm.
think I think it's really hard to be like in a way that's just like fundamentally what maturity as a human being is like
Yeah.
understanding like being able to answer the question like why did I feel that way? Like why
Yeah.
did that situation make me feel that way?
Hmm.
Understanding because I think it's easy to get in a situation where like this was with my first game project. I just had a list of things that I liked,
Yeah.
and I didn't have the kind of like the sharp exactness. Like with Rift Wizard, I really had a plan of like, I want to create this exact type of experience. Like I want to create an experience where you have a limited set of resources and you are trying to overcome a unique situation.
Yeah.
That was like exactly what I wanted to do with Rift Wizard. I didn't have such an exact idea with the earlier games. I remembered, I had these memories of happiness, and then I had these memories of like what was there when I was happy.
Yeah.
And like this is like I think this is kind of how everyone like decides what they like, right? It's like it's the stuff that was around when they were happy.
Hmm.
Like and so it's like it's quite the intellectual exercise to separate just like what are the things that you instinctually like from understanding like what was the process that made you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's that's very different. Like growing yourself in that direction is very different, I think, certainly than the fantasy that I came into game development with. Like, cause I really did just want to be a hermit, and I still am somewhat of a hermit. But like, yeah, it's like you come in and you're wanting to just like look at a screen and not be with people, and then
Yeah.
you just end up spending all of your time. So, like, I think the secret to releasing a good game, uh, a successful game, by the way, is playtesting. And I think this is very underappreciated. I think a lot of people, they have an idea for what they want to do in a game,
Hmm.
and they work on it for a long time, and they just don't playtest it enough. And if you playtest, so my first two projects I didn't really playtest very much,
Hmm.
and they kind of went nowhere. And my third project I started playtesting like the first week
Yeah.
essentially that I was making it, and I playtested it almost every night. Um, for the entire development cycle.
Hmm.
And when you're doing that, you're like it keeps you very, very honest. Like you can't really go off on big useless tangents because especially if you're playtesting with like the same people, like you'll see like like you'll see their reaction to
Yeah.
everything that you're doing, and like you have such a better understanding of how your game is going to make people feel and what their reaction to it will be. Um like I don't think it has ever happened that a designer has created a game and gotten great responses during all the playtests. Play tested it. People were like really enthusiastic. They kept bugging him about the next build, kept coming back, wanting to do more playtests. And then you release it and no one cares.
Hmm.
I don't think that's ever happened. I think it's very common that like you build something and you kind of go dark and you like don't share your progress with other people.
Yeah.
Not a lot of other people are involved in what you're doing. And I mean, you can do that for years. And then you're like throwing darts at a dartboard, you
Right.
know? Like maybe what you made is very, very interesting to people. But probably it's not. Like most random games are not good games.
Yeah. Because it's not grounded. The playtesting keeps you grounded in what's
It really
what's
does, yeah.
legitimately enjoyable and what's really a good experience versus the example you
Yeah.
gave about combining everything that you like. I think everybody
Yeah.
probably starts there, and it's like just
Very
because you
common, yeah.
like ketchup and peanut butter doesn't mean they
Yep.
belong together. You know?
Yes. It doesn't even mean that's why you like it doesn't even mean that's why you enjoyed the hot dog. It's like the ketchup was just something you noticed. That's just like something your brain recorded. You
Uh huh.
don't It's not necessarily the fundamental ingredient of like what was making it a compelling experience.
Yeah. It might have not even been the food. It might have been who you were with at the time. You know? It's like there's so much
That's
that can go into an enjoyable
This is the
experience.
answer key to many
Yeah.
things. Yes, indeed, indeed. It is very, very often the things you like are a result of the people you were doing them with.
That's incredible. I've never quite heard that before. I really like that. Um,
So true. It's like I played so much Dota. I would not have played anywhere near as much Dota if I wasn't playing with my friends. There's
yeah.
just no way. Even roguelikes, like single player roguelikes, I actually had a bunch of friends who would play single player roguelikes, and we would just like talk to each other about about our experiences
Hmm.
playing the game.
Yeah.
We would like look over at each other's shoulders while we were playing the game.
Yeah.
And it kind of became like playing Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup was oftentimes a social experience for me. And yeah, like if I didn't have that, I don't know if I would have cared as much about
Right.
roguelikes.
So, if you were to crystallize what you think is like the most effective and reliable way to be commercially successful, not just to
Hmm.
follow a passion project, but to actually make it your living, like what advice would you pass along?
Well, I think the paradox is that like it has to be a passion project. I
Hmm.
think like I mean, man, you should not make a game if it's not your passion project. Like, do not waste your time making a game if you don't really, really, really feel like you have to. Because if you can succeed making a game, I'm sure you can make way more money working in Fang or in finance or
Oh, for
something like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Like, do not make games unless you just like really, really, really have to make games. Like, do not. Honestly, I don't advise it. Like, but if you have to make games, like, I mean, it's like very cliche, but like, make a good game. Although I don't know what that means. Like, what is a good game, right? It's like such a hard question. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
very easy to say that, well, a good game is something that sold a lot of copies on Steam, and then it's just a very circular thing. You're like, well, how do you be commercially successful? Well, you have to sell a lot of copies of your game
Mm-hmm.
on Steam. So, well, obviously, I think I really think the playtesting thing is huge. Like,
Yeah.
I think like sharing your game with people and seeing their reaction and like yeah, like just like you have to find and like the hardest thing in many ways, like people like to knock the idea of like an ideas person, but like the idea is very, very, very important. Like the idea of your game is crucially, crucially important.
Mm-hmm.
I think most games that eventually wind up successful are probably very fun to play very early in development, like with a very minimal prototype. Like
Yeah.
I mean, PUBG is a great example, right? Like even when PUBG was released, it was very rough around the edges,
Yeah.
right? And I remember people had told me about PUBG, and I said, "Oh, okay, that sounds cool." And then I actually like played my first game of PUBG, and like the experience is so compelling. Just like
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there are 100 people running around out there,
Yeah.
and they're all kind of trying to eat me,
Yeah.
and like I am prey for them, and they could be prey for me. Uh, and like it was so rough. It was so rough around the edges. Like the graphics were bad, basically. They were just bad.
Yeah.
But like the idea was so good. Like I think it's very worthwhile to like do a lot of small prototypes until you have something where the small prototype is very compelling and then just make the prototype into a game. Like
Yeah.
just keep adding something to the prototype.
So you have like the philosophy that if it is good, it will succeed.
Yes, I do. I
Interesting.
do. Which is I mean it's very controversial. It's so there is like you have to think about your audience,
Yeah.
Like you could make a game which achieved the design goals that you set out to achieve,
Mm-hmm.
but it might turn out that no one else really wants to play that game, right?
Right.
Like you could make the best like a really easy example would just be like, well, you made like a visual novel and it's only available in the Finnish language, because you feel there's something about the Finnish language that's very important to you. Well, you might make the most successful Finnish visual novel. There might not be a market for, the market for that might be like
Right.
500 players,
Mm-hmm.
and so you might only sell, that would be very hard to make that commercially successful.
Yeah.
Like, so I think right now in the games industry, like, roguelikes, roguelikes sell well. There's certain genres that sell well. Like roguelikes sell well, simulation games, like games where you kind of have a sandbox and there are a bunch of entities running around, you build a thing and the entities interact with a thing. Like if you make a good one of those, that will probably be commercially successful. You can definitely I think I see a lot of people get caught up with they'll make a genre which is essentially over. Like they'll make like a puzzle platformer is a
Yeah.
great example.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is very, very hard to make a commercially successful puzzle platformer right
Yeah.
now. Now, people still do it though. Like Celeste was certainly a commercial success. Um, but it's like the bar is very high. Like these genres that are the people are kind of burnt out on, um, or these genres where you're competing. Like you want your game, if you want to be commercially successful, you want your game to be like not just a little bit better than other people's games. You want it to be like a lot better
Yeah.
than other people. Like you want to do something that it's kind of I mean it's connected to making it a passion project. Like why would you be passionate about making a game which isn't way better than the games you can already play, you know? Like for me most of the motivation for making the game was just like I wanted to play a game which was this way
Yeah.
and I could not find a game that was like I tried so hard to
Right.
find a game which was exactly the way that I wanted. And like the reward of making Rift Wizard was that now I could actually play Rift Wizard. That was like a big part
Yeah.
of the whole thing. Like I think so like one trap is making a game in a genre that's kind of dead. The other trap is making a game because you want to be a person who made the game rather than you want to play this game that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Like you could make, like if you're just making a game which is exactly like StarCraft or something, but it's like slightly different because you're trying to like put your own spin on it. Like people might not care, like people will only care if you're doing something, like if you're doing something new.
Yeah, so that takes me back to what you said before, which is you have to do something different. And I wonder if puzzle platformers are dead not because the genre is bad, or not just because it's culturally over, but because there's so many. Like we went through the era of puzzle platformers, and nearly everything was done. If you look at the possibility space of puzzle platformers, it's like every crevice was explored.
So many.
Yeah.
Yep. And some of them were like amazing. They were like some really like Braid was amazing.
Yeah.
Super Meat Boy was amazing. Even like there were random Flash games that were amazing. Like Money Seas was amazing. There were so many good puzzle platforms. Like it's like you have to do something new, but I'm not sure. It's like I'm not sure there is something new to do in some of these like really like RTS is another space that's like very, very well explored. Like can you really make an RTS that's better than StarCraft 2? Can you really do that? Because they thought very hard about StarCraft 2.
Right.
Like you have to find. I think if you want to make, like one really good formula for making a game is like, you have to find a game you really like, and then you have to find a really, really big problem with that game. Like you have to find something that's like holding that game back, like something big, and then you fix the problem, and in fixing it, you like make a whole new game because now you have to figure out how the game works after you fix this problem. Like often the problem is like it's like bearing a lot of design load, you know.
Yeah,
I can think of ways to make StarCraft better, right? Like I might mess with the resource system, I might mess with like how drones. Probably I would just mess with the resource system, and that would probably change the game entirely, and probably like all the content in the game would no longer make sense. And that would be like the beginnings of a new game. I think that's a good approach.
I feel like a trap that a lot of game developers fall into is they change something that isn't critical. It's like, what if we had StarCraft 2 with, and then they like tack on something, but that doesn't change now you have the burden of replicating what Blizzard did, which is a huge lift. And then you're going to tack on a feature that doesn't really change the core experience and expect that people are going to be on board. I don't think it really works that way.
It can work. Like, it can work if it's a genre that doesn't have a lot of entries in it. So your game is like the only, people have only played like in the 1990s when RTSs were new, right? There were a lot of like kind of bad RTSs that still were like somewhat commercially successful just because they were novel and interesting. But once it's like a crowded space, you really have to find that fundamental new thing. And like the more novel your game is, the less execution burden you have. Like if your game is not novel at all, then your game better be like the most beautiful, most juicy, well-produced game in the genre, right? But if you're like Vampire Survivors is a great example. That game was like so different from everything else, and it was like so bad, it was like so bad, but it didn't matter that it was bad because it had this new, it like distilled like the progression down to such a simple and satisfying and like superior like experience that like it didn't matter because its competition was nothing. And then so like one way, like you kind of get this snowball effect with games and other media where like once people are talking about your game, now other people want to play it so that they can participate in the conversation, right?
Right.
And it's very unfair because it's like when you're starting from nothing, this is a hurdle. But like if you can get into like the Vampire Survivors scenario where like first everyone just like found this game on their own and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I found this. This is like so awesome." Then everyone noticed that their whole Steam friends list is like playing Vampire Survivors, right? And they're like, all right, I have to, I gotta check out what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think marketing a game is basically a waste of time. That's
really?
the conclusion. I do actually. Yeah.
I've had completely the opposite experience. That's very interesting.
I everything I ever did to try to promote Rift Wizard
yeah
made no impact on the metrics.
Really?
I would say that. Like every
what was the
like
most successful
giveaways,
marketing effort that you did?
Clicking full release on the Steam backend by far.
Yeah.
Like
did you have did you have wish lists built up? What was that like?
It's some wish lists. It wasn't a huge no. I think Rift Wizard won. I don't know. I think I had like 5,000 or 10,000 wish lists over the course of early access.
Yeah.
Which that's like that's not what's the word? It's not like danger zone territory. It's not like you're looking at that metric and you're like terrified. But it's like nothing. Like if it was a bigger project, that would be very very bad to only have 10,000 wish lists.
It's enough to get you on the new and upcoming, though.
Yeah, it is. It's enough that Steam, because Steam, I mean, they have this like black box, probably neural network driven algorithm that like figures out.
Yeah.
Because there's so many games released every month, and most of them are not very serious attempts at making a game.
Yeah.
So like the Steam algorithm somehow did figure out that my game was like a serious attempt at making a game, and that people liked it. I mean, I think like the way that people find games is like there's some people who are extremely hardcore gamers who try every game. And like they look at the Steam page for like everything that comes out in genres they're interested in. And then most people, what they do is they talk with their friends. Like word of mouth is so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can, I don't know, I'm a little bit biased because Rift Wizard is not a game. It doesn't convert very well from screenshots, I don't think. Like people don't, when someone sees a screenshot of Rift Wizard, like, I mean, I don't know, like people know right away if it's a game for them, right? Like if they already play games like that, they see the screenshot and they want to know more about it.
Yeah.
But like your average person who's like not into this sort of games, they'll look at a screenshot from Rift Wizard and they're like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas something like a AAA title, like I don't know, like the new God of War title or Modern Warfare or something, like you can make a very captivating trailer out of the gameplay for that.
Yeah.
So I think the rules for marketing that might be like the rules for marketing are very differently if your game is I guess like really visually compelling.
Right.
Like if your game is something that people look at and just generally have like just really want, like Fez was the perfect example. Everyone always talks about Fez with this, where like you see the GIF of the 2D platformer rotating.
Yeah. And
they're like, well, I have to try that. That's so cool. I really want to see what that's like to play. Or Braid was the same way. Like you see the GIF of like rewinding the platformer. And you're like, well, I understand what that is and I want to try that.
Yeah.
Rift Wizard is much more niche. So like people look at it, they see what the niche is. And for some people, like that's enough. For some people, that will never be enough. But yeah, I mean, everything I did to try to market the game, like I would like give it to streamers. I would like see that a streamer had made something. I would see, I would like, I would try to get onto like one of those like YouTube, like upcoming games lists.
Mm-hmm.
And I would look at the metrics and it was like hard to conclude that there had been any effect at all. It would be such a soft effect.
Yeah.
Whereas, like the Steam algorithm is it's almost all of my, I think it's most of the discoverability of Rift Wizard. I mean, now some people know about it, so now there's like a bit of a brand effect as well. Yeah.
Well, that's very
interesting. Do you have
interesting.
a similar experience with? I don't know. What's your experience like marketing Spellmasons? Like, I'm curious.
So, this last year has been a marketing whirlwind because I started taking it seriously and had ridiculously good results.
Really?
But yes, so I kind of have a greater theory about this, and it's like if you look at if you imagine every single person in the entire world that would play your game and love it if they could, and then the question is, then it's a matter of just imagining a sales funnel, like a conventional sales funnel, like if they know about your product, if they visit the page, if they put it in their cart, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I had spent all of my time optimizing the game and making it as good of a game as I could, and I spent very little time on visibility. So I concluded my problem was literally just people didn't know that it existed. And so I pushed really hard on learning how to like tell a compelling story, and I had videos go viral on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and it made a gigantic difference for me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's because it was like it's like the opposite of a weakest link. It's like the highest leverage action I could take was increasing visibility, because the game was already getting really good reviews and the people who played it loved it, but my sales were pretty low. Yeah. So I do think it's very contextual. Like, I wonder if Rift Wizard, it is that niche of roguelikes, and you can, like you said, you can tell right away. And so the players, your potential audience, already knows by looking at it. As you said, more visual. I mean, my game doesn't it's ironically very similar in that it's turn-based and it's very thoughtful, and there's like wicked crazy spell combinations, but it doesn't necessarily come off that way visually.
The continuous movement is like it's like confusing almost.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it almost makes it look like a different genre of game than it actually is, which is like very interesting. Like,
that may have been a mistake.
I mean, yeah, there are a lot of these things where it's like, you know, you design the game the way you want to design it because you think it's cool, you know, and like it's more fun. It's more fun to make games that way. And so, like, why would you even make games if you're not going to make them that way? But there are things where it's like, well, if you make this design decision, the game will be twice as popular. And it's like, ooh, man, like, it's like, man, can I live with that? Like,
right.
Can I do that? Like,
I 100% agree with you that, like, you have to be passionate about it. And there's a dialogue on Twitter and sometimes Reddit of like genre maxing that I'm very much opposed to, where people are like, oh, here's how to hit it big, look what's popular, and then make a game in that genre. And I don't think you'll be successful if you don't love what you're doing, because it's so difficult.
You'll make a lot more money just getting a FANG job, man.
Right.
Like, if you're like, why are you working so hard to like, if you're gonna work that hard to just like sell video games, but you don't like love the video game you're making, like, I don't know what what are you doing? You know, like, what are you doing? It's 100%. Pointless. It's totally pointless.
I actually wonder, you were talking about dead genres like puzzle platformers. I'm curious to get your input on this. I wonder if roguelikes are going to become a dead genre, because what I see right now is it's the possibility space of roguelikes is getting filled out. There's less and less innovation because everybody's doing it.
It's funny, like, so we used to have these genre words that were like very specific templates for games, like platformer, real-time strategy game, first-person shooter, like flight simulators were like really big, and every flight simulator was like exactly the same game. Like, you're in a cockpit, you're flying around. I feel like the roguelike, like the word roguelike is much more flexible.
Sure.
Like, again, I think it just means a short game. So I think like there's a lot of juice in that. In a way, I think people have kind of rediscovered the art of making short games. Like, all games used to be short back on like the Atari and Super Nintendo games. Like, you couldn't really make a game that was very long. Right. Well, pre-Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo, that was like the generation that people first started making like really long, like almost like cinematic narrative experiences. Like, I think like the roguelike, I would almost call roguelike like an artistic movement within the video games community.
So more less than of like a genre.
I think, but there are definitely templates within it. Like, I think there are games that are very similar to Slay the Spire. Like, all these templates, you can kind of point to one game, and that's the game that starts the template.
Sure.
So there's like the Slay the Spire family of roguelikes, and I think that one is kind of getting tapped out. I think that one's like, people made a lot of deck building roguelikes.
Yeah.
And I have played every variant of deck building roguelikes.
Yeah.
And it is at the point where you can make like a perfect deck building roguelike, but it's like not a good game because it's not original anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that vein is like drying up, and just like Celeste with puzzle platforms, like people will still occasionally, like every 5 years, one will come out and people will be like, oh my god, this is like, it'll be a combination of like, it's so well executed, maybe it does something a little bit new, and it's kind of like been a while since I was like playing 5 of these a week, you know?
Yeah.
I think the Vampire Survivors family is also like man, so the thing about Survivors likes is they're very easy to make, right? Like, you can kind of make one in Unity in like a week, and it's like almost ready to push onto Steam at that point. It's like you can implement the original Vampire Survivors game like very, very quickly. That's not true of like StarCraft. Like if you want to make StarCraft, that's going to take you a few months to even get to like the basics.
Yeah.
But Steam is like so flooded with Survivors likes right now. I think that one is going to get burnt out pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think like traditional tile-based ones were basically never popular. You know, they like never were really that. I don't know. I don't know if people are really. It's like rare that people are making those. But I think like short term. I think fast progression plus permadeath is like here to stay. I think people will be making fast progression plus permadeath.
Interesting.
You know, until people stop playing video games.
Yeah, I like that differentiation because I guess I'm noticing more of the theme. Like, I feel like I've seen this pattern. I remember it with Minecraft when Minecraft blew up, and then everybody was making open world survival crafting games.
That's right, they did. Yeah,
I got so sick of it real quick. I was like, this needs to stop. And now, you know, Survivor likes, and now the latest one is, you know, Friend Slop, as they're calling it, which is like the real time audio. Yeah, it's like the real time audio, like Peak. Have you seen Peak, where you climb a mountain with your friends? Okay, well they're really big on all the social medias. There's a new one that just went huge called RV There Yet, where you're like driving an RV, and then there was the one that kind of crashed and burned, Cuff Bust, where you're like breaking out of prison with your friends. I don't know if it's recovered, but that's the one that all the gurus are saying. If you want to be a rich video game developer, make Friend Slop. So I'm kind of
video game developer
seeing these phases. But there is an element of roguelikes, maybe not the umbrella term, but the theme of like highly customizable, broken builds type games, where I'm starting to see it fill up, and I'm not seeing a lot of innovation.
Sure.
I do like shorter games,
what
though.
What games are even coming out? What games are you even thinking of in this genre?
In roguelikes?
Yeah, like the broken build, kind of like exploit the mechanics type thing.
Well,
I want to play these games. I have trouble finding these games.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
maybe,
I feel like it's really easy to find action roguelikes, but it's hard to find roguelikes that are about the things that you're getting, you know?
I'm afraid I actually don't have a good answer because, like you said, the genre is roguelike is so wide. Like I'm thinking of like, you know, Hades is an excellent, but that's an action roguelike, you know, or there's I think Inkscape, or it's I'm seeing it in many different genres. The formula of the infinitely customizable applied to shooters and this and that and this and that. So not necessarily the subgenre. But as a trope of like infinite customizability. And I guess actually it's a lot of Survivors likes, to be honest. You know, there's Brotato and all of those broken build Survivor likes.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a little bit tired of the broken build thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely getting tired of Survivors like. I think Hades is another like template. Like a lot of people, they see Hades, they're like, I want to make something like that.
Yeah.
And there are many, many things that are like that now. And there's like a spectrum between Vampire Survivors and Hades, right? Like you can like Hades is very like you are moving through a world.
Yeah.
It's an experience which is designed, whereas, you know, Vampire Survivors is like you're in a wide open field and monsters are converging on you.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of stuff somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I do think people will I don't think we've reached peak Hades like yet. I think give it 2 years. There are going to be many, many games that are very, very similar to Hades. People love Hades. Hades is very popular.
Oh, and it's phenomenal. So well executed.
Yeah, Hades has very high production values.
Yeah.
Hades, it's a really cool way to make an RPG. It's like because they're doing like the fast progression short runs thing, but also having the like the long running story, and you like get to know these characters. It's a cool it's a cool premise. They did cool stuff. They definitely did cool stuff for Hades. I think the market will bear 3 or 4 more Hades likes before people, like big ones, you know, like really cool ones.
Yeah.
Before people get totally fed up with that. Yeah, it's funny. I haven't tried that Friend Slop stuff. I've never even. It's it's interesting getting old. I'm like I'm 37 now, or no, 38 actually, 38 recently, and so I don't know. Like I used to be like in the middle, in the middle of gaming, and
Yeah.
like all the games that everyone liked were the games that I liked.
Yeah.
Now that there are genres of games that young people play that I'm not really very interested in.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
like I don't play cell phone games. I just don't care about cell phone games.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people play cell phone games. And it's like, every generation kind of has their art forms, right? Like rock and roll was very popular with my parents' generation.
Yeah.
And it was very big for a while, and it's certainly still around, but it's like hard for me to think of the last famous rock and roll band that came out. And like the games that I make and the games that I play, like they're very mouse and keyboard focused.
Yeah.
And the mouse and
Same.
keyboard that's not an evergreen thing, Like it's like young kids don't use mice and keyboards that much, unless they're trying to be like writers or something.
That
Like
boggles
mouse
my
and
mind because
keyboard,
it's such a good
yeah,
interface.
indeed.
There's so much you can do with it. To have precise control in one
Yep,
hand and to have
yep, yep.
an array of buttons in the other hand. And maybe that's just because I'm biased because I'm 34. So we're kind of in the same
we're
boat.
biased for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, because it's like, oh, you have unlimited buttons, you know? It's like infinite buttons that you can use. And it really does impact the type of game you make,
Yeah.
like the controller that
Yep.
you're using. Like I was thinking about porting Rift Wizard to Switch at one point, and I just like couldn't, like the control scheme is so centered around like you press a button on the keyboard to
Yeah.
select a spell, and then you move the mouse and you click to target the spell.
Yeah.
And like that is the fundamental experience of playing the game. And if you take that away, it's like not really, it's not the same game. It's something very different at that. Like if I was making a Switch game, it would be a very different game.
Right.
And I think people might stop playing console games at some point too. Like people might start playing. Like I think touch screens in general are on the rise right now. I don't know what's after touch screens. I don't know what kind of like gyroscope VR technology people are going to come up with that kids are going to use 20 years from now. But yeah, so like in a way, like all these genres will kind of come to a conclusion. Like you can't imagine making StarCraft not on mouse and keyboard, right?
Yeah.
It's like so like that is a mouse and keyboard game.
They've
Like
tried
if
and
you
it
take
didn't go
away,
well. Remember Halo Wars?
oh, what did they try? Halo. Oh, I never played Halo Wars. What did they
It's an
do?
RTS with a controller, and I knew
Okay.
from the first moment that I saw it, I don't even know why they tried it. I knew it wouldn't work. Where you use the thumb pad to paint a selection circle, and I'm like, that's terrible.
Oh, that
It's
sounds very bad. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, definitely. So that's another really fascinating point that the control scheme dictates the design and the
Yeah.
experience to some extent.
Very much does.
Yeah.
It very much does.
Great. Well, hey, let's wrap this up. But this has been an incredible
All right, man.
conversation. I think we went much longer than I expected
it's a great
to.
show.
I feel like
Oh,
there's
sorry about that.
there's oh no. I mean the pleasure's all mine. You shared. I have all these notes. You shared so much wisdom, and the biggest takeaway
Oh,
for
thank you.
me, it's making something that hasn't been done before is really key. And I think that's why genres die.
Yeah.
That for me
Yeah.
is a huge takeaway
Yeah.
that I never
Yeah.
really thought of before. Is like they die because everything has been explored, and then you don't have anything that you can add to it. And so if you try to,
Yeah.
you just end up in the sea of what already exists. So yeah, what a pleasure to be able to pick your brain
Yeah,
and get
it's
your
good talking
insights.
to you.
And congratulations
to
with
you.
Rift Wizards. It's an excellent game. It's very difficult.
Stuff is down.
And excuse me, Rift Wizard. I know it's not plural. I keep saying that because Spell Masons is plural, and then people always say my game as singular. So Rift Wizard, but it is very fun,
Yeah.
and I can
you very
see the
much.
thought and passion put into it.
Oh, thank you very much, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk again sometime, man. This is great.
Okay.
This is great, Joe.
All right. Well, yeah, this has been fantastic. Have a good rest. I guess it's evening where you are, but have a good evening then.
You too. You too.
All right.
Bro, good night.
Bye.